Hi, I'm Michael Roche from Vermont Arborist, and today I want to talk to you about tree identification, and it's what I would call Tree ID 101. This is just the basics, okay? So when it comes to tree identification, I want you to remember, for starters, just one word, and that word is MAD, M-A-D. And what does MAD stand for? MAD stands for maple, ash, and dogwood. Maple, ash, and dogwood all have what's called opposite branching. So here's a maple tree, and you see how the branches are opposite each other? And here's an ash tree branch, and that is also opposite each other, okay? So there it is. There's the maple again. All the branches are opposite each other. Whereas on, say, an oak, they're alternate. One here, one here, one here, one here. Some people say it's whorled. Okay, you can also say it's whorled. Doesn't really matter. You can say it's whorled. You can say it's alternate. But you see, this is a beech tree, and it's alternate. So the first thing we're going to talk about then is just opposite branching. MAD, maple, ash, dogwood. So when you're going out and you're walking in the woods, and there's the woods, for a lot of people look at that and they just say everything's gray. It's different versions of gray, and they have no idea what a tree is. Well, if you get to a tree and you say to yourself, oh look, here is an opposite tree. It has to be a maple, ash, or dogwood. Well, if it's bigger than a school bus, it's not a dogwood. That leaves maple and ash. And if you look at this, here is a sugar maple. And you might say, well, it's not opposite, because there's not everything is opposite. Well, don't make quick judgments here. You know how quick judgments can sometimes get you in trouble in life? Well, don't do that here, okay? Because instead, you have a branch that was here, it just happened to break off. Same thing here, it happened to break off. See a little stub there? So it is opposite, all right? So then, what is the difference if you got an opposite branch tree and it's bigger than a school bus? It has to be a maple or an ash. So what's the difference between a maple and an ash? Well, the only thing you got left here, and this is the only hard thing you got to remember out of this whole talk, is that ash have fat, stubby buds, okay? See that fat, stubby bud? Okay? And they're rather large. Whereas this one here is a red maple, and it's smaller and a little bit pointy, but not too pointy. And sugar maple here is very pointy, but neither of them are nearly as big as an ash tree. So if you have an opposite branching tree and you have and it's bigger than a school bus, it's not a dogwood. Then if it's got fat, stubby buds, that makes it an ash. And if it's not fat, stubby buds, that means it has to be a maple. And that makes that real easy. So there is a big portion of the forest in itself of what your trees are. And that really gets you a lot of your tree identification right from the start. After that, you have two other kinds of trees that tend to keep the leaves on in the winter. And this one is a beech and this one is an oak. And if you look at them, it's sort of like you kind of shake on them and the leaves don't come off. And it's sort of like a bad relationship, where it just sort of continues to cling, and no matter how hard you shake, it really takes a lot to kind of get loose from that. So if you're wondering like what it is, what it could be, just think of the beech or the oak as like a bad relationship, and that gets you your another group of trees. And believe it or not, oak and beech are in the same family, which is the beech family. So you have species, genus, and then family. And in the family is beech and oak together. Maple is not in their family. And when a leaf stays on a tree in the winter, that's called marcescence. But don't think about marcescence, because you just overfill your head, all right? Think about a bad relationship, and that's going to be a beech. And the difference between a beech and an oak is, well, almost everybody knows what an oak leaf looks like. See, look at that oak leaf. It's big, and it's fat, and it's got deep lobes to it, okay? Whereas a beech leaf is more of a elliptical in shape. So they're very different, and it's easy to detect the difference. So now you have your mad trees, and you have the trees of a bad relationship, and that gets you so much of the different forest that it really helps. And then after that, well, you have birch, okay? And a birch tree they tend to be white, right? There's yellow birch that's out there, but you don't see a whole lot of them. Let's not worry about it. Let's just say you got birch trees and they're white. And if you don't know a birch tree because you've got a white tree out in the woods, and maybe you've been spending too much time in your parents' basement watching video games, okay? So let's spend more time in the forest and look at the white birch tree that happens to be out there. And the rest of the way it goes is that you have your mad trees and you have your Marston's trees, or the bad relationship trees, and those tend to cling, right? Oak and beech, they tend to cling, okay? The other ones are the mad trees, maple, ash, and dogwood. That's it for now. Michael, signing off.